When a narcissist knows you figured them out, the moment everything changes and what they do next. That's the title of this video. There is a very specific moment that changes everything in a relationship with a narcissistic personality type. It's not when you argue back. It is not when you leave. It's not even when you cry. It is the moment they realize you see them clearly now. Not the mask, not the charm, not the version they carefully built to control you, but the pattern underneath it all. And once a narcissist knows you figure them out, they don't get angry fast. They get strategic. Because from that moment on, the relationship is no longer about love, confusion, or attachment. It becomes a game of control versus exposure. And most people never see what happens next coming. The shift you feel before you realize it. It usually starts quietly. You begin noticing inconsistencies. Words don't match actions. Affection feels conditional. Arguments feel scripted somehow, like you've been here before. At first, you doubt yourself, but then something changes. You stop reacting the way they expect, and that's the first crack in their control. Because narcissistic patterns rely heavily on emotional predictability. When you stop being predictable, you stop being manageable, and they notice, even if you haven't said anything yet. The moment they realize you are aware, they test you. Subtle comments, small provocations, a sudden coldness followed by warmth. They are measuring something. Do you still emotionally respond the same way? Because if you do, they still have leverage. But if you don't, if you pause instead of react, if you question instead of comply, something shifts in them. They don't announce it, but internally they register that you are no longer fully in the fog. The mask changes, not disappears. A common misunderstanding is that the mask drops completely. It doesn't. It becomes more refined, more convincing. They may become unusually kind again, suddenly attentive, overly apologetic, or woke and self-aware. This is not growth. This is recalibration, because now they are not trying to maintain blind control. They are trying to regain influence over someone who is waking up. The disorientation phase, this is where most people get pulled back in, because the behavior becomes confusing. Warmth returns after distance. Accountability sounds real. Intimacy feels restored. Old patterns briefly disappear. You start thinking, maybe I misunderstood them. But what's actually happening is strategic stabilization. They are trying to reset your emotional memory, to make you question your clarity, because confusion is the most powerful form of control. The subtle punishment begins. If that doesn't work, something colder appears. Not always anger, often silence, or emotional withdrawal, or subtle humiliation disguised as jokes, or comparisons to others. This is not random. It's corrective behavior in the internal system. You're not supposed to see me this clearly and still stay emotionally independent. That's what the narcissist translates. So the dynamic shifts into pressure. At this stage, narrative control becomes central. They begin rewriting history. You are always the sensitive one. I never did that. You are remembering it wrong. You've changed. This is not confusion. This is reconstruction. Because if they can control your memory of events, they can control your confidence in your perception. And if you doubt your perception, you become manageable again. When exposure threatens control, isolation often increases, but quietly. Not always physical isolation, emotional isolation. They may reduce deep conversations, dismiss your insights, discourage outside perspectives, or subtly undermine your trust in others. The goal is simple. If your clarity grows externally, it becomes harder to reverse internally. So they try to narrow your reference points. The replacement strategy, that is emotional or social. If control weakens further, they may introduce comparison dynamics. Not always direct replacement, sometimes implied. Increased attention to others, sudden social expansion, visible validation from new sources. This is not about affection elsewhere. It's about leverage. A silent message is sent. You're not the only one who can validate me. It creates emotional uncertainty. And uncertainty pulls attention back to them. Why they don't just leave you. This confuses many people. If someone is exposed, why not leave? Because exposure doesn't automatically remove attachment to control. You are often not just a partner in this dynamic, you are a system. Emotional regulation source, your validation mirror, your identity stabilizer, you're a psychological anchor. So instead of leaving, they often try to regain equilibrium through control shifts, not connection, but stability. The only real turning point is that everything changes at one specific point. When you stop trying to prove you see them and simply act from that awareness. No debates, no emotional chasing, no justification loops, just consistent behavior aligned with clarity. That's when the dynamic loses fuel. Because the system depends on reaction, confusion, emotional escalation, repeated engagement. Without that, there is nothing to manipulate. And what remains is silence, not dramatic silence. So, when a narcissistic patterned person realizes you've seen through the illusion, the biggest shift isn't what they do, it is what you stop doing. Because the real turning point was never their awareness of you. It was your awareness of the pattern. And once that happens, the relationship is no longer the same system it was built to be. It becomes something else entirely. And most people only realize that after everything has already changed. So remember, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with a selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed, egocentric, egotistic individual. With a narcissist, it's always about me, me, I. The narcissist believes everything must revolve around them. They are master controllers. They are master manipulators. What they need is to control everything about you. Remember, a narcissist needs attention. Whether it's negative or positive, they need attention from you. They need constant admiration. They need constant praise, constant acknowledgement, constant recognition. When you are dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who has a fragile ego, someone who lacks empathy, someone who uses then discards, are very proud, boastful creatures who believes they are more important than everybody else, that they are unique and that they are special. They have this grandiosity nature with them. A narcissist, what they want is to control you, to punish you, to destroy you, to make you suffer and to make you cry. That way they're happy. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so.